Welcome to Module 8, DMs, Conversations, and Sales with AI. Now, if you're not an experienced person in closing, then this is going to be great for you because you do, when you start out, need quite a lot of help in terms of making sure that that follower does turn into a lead, and then you've got to close that lead as well. So AI can help you with all of that. Okay, I'll tell you about a couple of stories that I've got later in terms of how I do it as well for large clients and also small clients. But let's dive straight in. So this is where we turn AI into your DM coach. Okay, so when you're first starting off, I really recommend just playing around with it a little bit, you know, kind of try to bring your personality into the messages. So don't just start asking, you know, ChatGPT or whatever to give you the exact openers, because it will be quite good, but it'll be generic. But get a feel for it. Like use what you would normally speak to somebody else, and then let AI optimize that for yourself. So when DMs don't convert, first of all, don't blame the leads. Now I see a lot of people like, well, they're not replying to me. And when you look at the messages, you realize you're being too salesy. It's just completely random. It's not personalized. So have a look at the DMs that you're sending before you start to disqualify the leads, and then let AI show you where you're going wrong. Okay. So as I mentioned, it's really good for when you first start out, maybe for the first 10 people that you're speaking with, 20 people, that just go through and have the full conversation with them and try to get them on the phone yourself. Now, you can use AI to give you a couple of ideas if you're really stuck, but try to do it yourself. And then you'll find out that you either don't get anyone on the call, you got a couple of people on the call, and then you can start pasting in the full conversations. Then take a DM conversation, have a look, you know, where it died. If another one went a bit weird, let's say they just didn't start to, they just ghosted you, for example, or the conversation just was a bit strange, or you just didn't convert them on to a call. So break them all down. You can break all the different conversations down into multiple different sectors. I've just added 3 here. And then once the AI knows what works, what didn't work, what got ghosted, etc., then it can find the similarities in all the different conversations. The more conversations that you add in, then it will start to match up the dots. You might not necessarily see it, but the AI will see the patterns. And this is super important, that, you know, you're not going to be able to go through it with a fine-tooth comb. Otherwise, you're going to be doing it for a long time. AI will be able to do that in 30 seconds. So paste it into your social media brain. Here is a full DM conversation with a potential client. Tell me what I did well. Tell me where I lost or made it hard to buy. Show me exactly how you would reply at each step to keep the conversation moving forward. Now, again, these are just a couple of things just to add in. You can add in your own prompts, etc. You might have realized that every single time that you're trying to get a client onto a phone call, they just go completely dead. Now, that's what you need to fix. Is it the way that you're asking them? You know, so rather than thinking, throw that all in and say, hey, look, I'm getting stuck. I'm having a good conversation, but nobody is getting on the phone call with me, or nobody is going through and actually clicking the link. Nobody is actually interested in my offer. Then add that all in, and then it can help you word it in a slightly different way. Now, it might not just be a DM fix here. It might not be a conversation fix. You might be completely targeting the wrong person with the wrong product, for example. So with all this, it will be able to detect that, since it's got your social media brain and knows what you're selling. So sometimes it's a good idea as well to give it a little bit of information on the actual person that you're targeting. Screenshot the person's account to give it a little bit more understanding of who that person is. You know, you can go much deeper. By now, you should know that I'm just giving you kind of a little bit of tools here in terms of what you can use. You should be going deeper and deeper and deeper. The more information you provide, the better the answer. Ask it to show you side by side your message and also the improved message. This is a great one. And the reason I like to do it side by side is so you can exactly see what the slight changes are. So you might have been sending, and this is a big error that I see a lot, is people send masses of text. So if they're sending a response of 2 lines, I like to match that 2 lines. I won't then be sending 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of text underneath. because you just need to match the other person's energy. Now, you know, if they're just coming back and saying, yes, okay, next week, then obviously that doesn't really sound like a really interested buyer. So then you try to pull more information out there. But if that person's just saying, yes, no, next week, okay, and then you start to send them masses of text, expect that person to drop off straight away, match their energy, and, you know, use this, and this will help you to align them messages with the direct buyer so you can get them on the call. 8.2, build out a DM library. Now, this is super, super important when you're starting to have multiple conversations on a daily basis, because most of the conversations you're going to have are going to be more or less the same. You know, people are going to have the same questions. What are you selling? You know, when can we do the call? There's going to be multiple questions the same. So once you start to figure out what most people are repeating to say a lot, you want to start building within your brain a DM script library. Now, group them. I've grouped them in these 5 different ways. You can group them in any way that you want. But first outreach, what was the first message that you sent, for example, because you might find, just like the reels, sometimes the hook is not good enough. So you might be getting ghosted all the time. People might not be replying, but it's literally just your first message. If you get them people talking, then they're actually going to jump on a call. You're just not getting them excited at the start. When they say, I'm interested, like this could be in any way, shape, or form. When they say it's too expensive, you know, ideally, I don't like to speak about the cost on the DMs. I think it's always better to speak about it on the call, because when people say it's too expensive, you know, expensive to what? Is it expensive to a Ferrari? Is it expensive to a McDonald's Big Mac? So like, it's very difficult in the DMs to explain yourself, and then you're kind of on the back foot. So I would always talk about cost on the phone call, okay? But a lot of people will just say, just give me the cost, just give me the cost. From experience, these people aren't really super interested in what you have. But then you could just put them on and say, hey, look, we can talk about the cost on the phone call, and then just send them the product information, etc. But I always find, yes, keep the cost out of the DMs when first starting off. Then you can also put, you know, when they ghosted, if they didn't reply, when I need to close them into a call link that, you know, they didn't reply either. So once you start to add in all this, I would add in 2 files as well. So ones that did work and ones that didn't work. Okay, so after a while in your DM script library, you're going to have 10 conversations where you got people onto the call, and you can say, like, this is a successful one. So whenever you're trying to deal with this in the future, the AI will know, okay, these 10 conversations resulted in a phone call. So it will reference what you talked about before and make it much, much easier to get future people on the calls as well. So use AI before you reply when it matters. Now, you're going to get different questions. You're going to get people being a little bit funny with you as well. If you don't know what to say, don't panic and just randomly say something just to get it out there. If you've done all of the above correct, the AI will be able to help you. Now, this is quite funny, a little bit of a personal story, but I trialed and tested this on multiple different platforms. You know, not just Instagram, LinkedIn, email, and I just wanted to see how good the AI was. So I literally fed in 8 successful or 10 successful, you know, conversations, and then I just started screenshotting every conversation. Now, I didn't reply myself for quite a while. I would just screenshot it, add it to the AI, and just tested this method. And then I replied with exactly what the AI said. But I wouldn't do this until I'd done all of the above. So it really knew very well what was working and what wasn't working. And quite funny, I also used this with Tinder as well, just to see how it would work out of the sales area. So after having like a couple of successful dates, I screenshotted, you know, them conversations, and it hit the nail on the head many times. No joke. The reply rate was super high and everything else. So once you start to optimize what works, you'll be so surprised in terms of how many people you'll be getting on the call, how many people actually replying to your messages, even when they're ghosting, people coming back as well, because the AI is trained if this person has ghosted, these messages are working to get them back. So train it, and then you can just copy and paste. And when you want to go to the next level, now this isn't just for Instagram as well. This is for everything. Every single communication that you have, if you train it in the correct way, you can use this for email, phone calls, as I'll mention in a minute as well. So make sure that the AI knows exactly what works for your business in the conversations. And then, you know, really, whenever you get stuck, you can just ask it straight away. So before replying to big leads, you can say, here's the last message. I would give them all of the messages. I would give them a brief on the client. I would also give them a screenshot as well of the client's profile. This is if it's a really, really important client. If it's not, then I would be testing. You know, if it's not a direct, you know, you're probably not going to make the sale. Test it, test, and figure out how it works. Pick the one that feels right, edit any line that doesn't. So a very important thing here is I've just told you that I literally just copied and pasted the AI into the conversations, and it worked well for me. It only worked well when I had fully optimized my brain. Before, I had to edit every single message, only slightly. So if it gives you the message, use that as a template. Okay, this is how I need to talk, and then make slight changes. Tell the AI the changes that you've made as well. Otherwise, it can be a bit generic. It can be not exactly in your voice as well. But once you get that brain super optimized, it will spit out the close to perfect response every single time. So a little bit of a side thing here as well. It's not just with the DMs. Use this as well for building proposals, you know, when you're actually on the sales calls as well. So I don't recommend actually, I'm telling you, yeah, that like definitely record every single phone call. Now at the bottom of this course, I've got the ones that I use. So I use Fathom. I also use Google Meet to record. I use Gemini. So on all my calls, I actually record, I record the transcript about 3 times on 3 different apps, just in case one doesn't get it quite right. So as soon as I'm on the sales call, I know my close rate is extremely high. I've been doing this for 8 years, but now I'm doing a lot of very complicated proposals. Like I'll build an AI system that has to integrate with a CRM system, you know, and these are very, very big builds, and everything is customized specifically for the client. Now, before I had to make notes on the call, or I had to remember it. Then after, I would have to go away and you know, make the proposal and make lots of changes. Now it takes me like 10 minutes because I get that transcript that I've already recorded. I put that into the AI. I then speak to it for a couple of minutes and tell it what I want it to do. Then it gives me within 5 to 10 minutes the most insane proposal that's specific to the client, because it's using everything that they've told me during the call. Now, I did one yesterday, and then I had a follow-up call this morning, and the client was blown away. Like I closed them straight away. So I had one call of a proposal. I had one this morning, and I closed them within 5 minutes. It was supposed to be an hour call to go through everything. A very, very big deal. And the reason he closed is because he said it was the proposal was the most specific one. He was so impressed by how I'd done that. And when I told him, look, I built this with AI in 5 to 10 minutes, he bought into me even more, because he was like, he gets many proposals from many people, but if you are, and myself, we're the top 1% right now using AI, it really, really impresses customers, because it shows that you know what you're doing. You're right at the top of the industry as well. But from my side, it's super, super easy. So make sure you're recording all of your calls, because you never know, you might need them in the future. When you expand your sales team, all my sales calls, I don't need to train my sales team, because I've already got all the transcripts. So I just feed that into AI, and there's an AI agent now with a ChatGPT agent. So if my sales guys need anything, they just talk to the agent, and it tells them exactly what they should do, because they've got like over 100, 150 hours of me on the phone. So it knows how I talk. So you never know when you're going to be using this. So from now on, record every single phone call. If it's a proposal, if it's a sales call, if it's a team meeting, everything should be recorded, because you can use that in the future. Because if you are going to build calling agents, chatbots, or anything else, really expand with AI, The brain needs all this information. And especially as well, if you're doing sales calls and you're doing proposal and talking about your service or system, you keep feeding that into this AI brain for social media. It's going to know how you explain the product. So it's going to help you even more with the reels as well. So a little bit of an extra tip, but as I said, that closed me a decent deal, and that was like $30,000 as well. I don't normally talk about money, but this is how big that was. I managed to close it within 2 days just for the fact of it was so specific. So this is what's possible for everyone out here. Even if you have no idea how to build a proposal or you have no idea how to close, this is what's going to help you do it as well. You just have to sound confident. And if you sound confident on the phone, let our AI ChatGPT be the expert of building all this, and you just focus on being the best communicator with the client as possible. So fantastic. That is the end of module 8. I'll see you in module 9.